Hey everyone, I'm just going to give it a second to see if the notification goes out because I have a couple things to talk about. Um, so I'm just going to wait. Huh. Hey Kamal, looking good, eh? Yeah, those bubbles with his red hair, looking like Chucky. I guess that describes my mood today. Like I said, I'm just going to give it a second to see if the notification goes out because I got it's something to do with regarding last night's live that I don't really fully understand why they did this or what the hell, but YouTube's playing its old tricks again. Hey Teresa, how are you? Long time. Hey John. So, like I said, I'm just gonna wait a second. I have an announcement to make. Um, for those of you, hey Carol, for those of you who have been with me for a long time, you know that this is my fifth channel, and you know that YouTube loves to hate me. Well, I flew under the radar for quite some time, which I actually thought was kind of weird until apparently I said something last night. Hey, Mob Rat Hunter. We did a live last night, and as soon as it had ended, like within minutes, I got this notification from YouTube, and it's something to do with I don't really understand. I've never seen this one before. Like they have all these new things now that they do, and all these guidelines that they must follow, because they censor us so much. If you look at the description of my video when it posts, you will find the links to my other social media platforms. I also have a backup channel on YouTube. It's also listed in the description. Um, so what happened was, last night we did a live, and I don't know specifically what was said this time that YouTube didn't like. Okay. But I got this notice and it was like, we have restricted some of your features on YouTube. So, from what I can tell so far, what that means is I have lost access to my community tab. I don't have it strike. They were very clear to say that this isn't a strike. And if you go follow this link, then you can verify your YouTube account and blah, blah, blah. I don't know what this is. This is a new one for me. I've seen everything under the sun from YouTube, every trick they've had up their sleeve. They've got they've got new tricks now, apparently. So hey Jane, how are you? David, good to see that the notifications going out. But I'm going to start using my other backup channels. So, again, if you follow, like, look at the description of this video, there are links. But, anyways, after we did this live last night, within minutes, I got this notification from YouTube saying that they're restricting some of my, I don't know what you call it, some of my features is what they called it. And then I have to follow this link. And then it was weird because when I go to follow the link last night, they said that the live that we had done was not available. So Chris Trock was on, Mr. Smith was on. So like I messaged Trock after the live, and I was like, "Can you go on my channel and see if the live was still there that we had just done?" Because when I looked on my end, like if I went to my channel and looked at the lives, it was showing me that the live was still there. But when I followed the link that they advised me, and it was definitely from YouTube, it wasn't like a trick email. It was showing me that the live had been removed. So like they're up to their old tricks. So it said something about, I don't know what the acronym was, but it's like these new rules. And after talking to Trock, I realized that now they're going woke, right? So you're not allowed, I guess, to speak about certain subjects that is not a popular opinion. And so the one section, when I followed this link, it said, this is the thing that has caused the issue. And it said us versus them, which I don't even remember using that phrase during that live. And it was something about gremlins, which is weird because we didn't mention gremlins. I don't even know if we talked about Corey Feldman, but like it wouldn't shock me if he's somehow behind this. But and then it says you can edit this, you can remove this part, or you can delete the video to reconcile this issue. But either way, I still have to verify my account, and it's like that's really strange. Yeah, some of the content for sure. So basically, when you voice your opinion about certain situations that they're heavily promoting, we all know what that is, and I don't want to push the envelope until I can get everybody over to my new platforms. Um, if you go against that and voice just simply your opinion, apparently that's a strike. Well, it's not really a strike, but it is a strike, because if they're limiting your account in some way, shape, or form, then that is sort of a strike without giving you a strike, if that makes sense. So they're restricting your account in some ways, which what they said, if you go on to read further, says it will limit your videos to the audience, which they already have. I'm already down in the algorithms. Okay. A lot of my subs tell me a lot of times that they don't even get notifications for my videos. So that's nothing new to me. And basically, that's the only thing that I can think of that was said during the entire live that would have been offensive in someone's mind. I don't think it was offensive. I was just speaking honestly and openly. I didn't say anything derogatory. I just voiced my opinions on things that are happening that I feel a certain type of way about for valid reasons. But apparently, you're not allowed to have your own opinion, and you're not allowed to go against the grain, and you are not allowed to speak out about things that in your mind you feel are morally wrong because somebody says that your opinion is wrong. Well, you know what? My entire life, I have never followed the pack. Okay. I have never in my entire life been a follower. And yes, I'm not going to lie, it has caused me problems. But I'm not going to change who I am, because I've always said this, and I will continue to say this, is that I would rather be loved for who I am, or sorry, hated for who I am than loved for who I'm not. And just because people may find my opinions to be offensive to them or they disagree, that does not matter to me, because nobody cares if they have an opinion that is offensive to me or if I think disagree. Now, I am one of those people that I can play this one of two ways. I can have a debate maturely. I've proven that in the past. Or I can go on full on ghetto fabulous and just shut out my mouth. But which way is going to produce more positive results? Are you going to push people away with being offensive, which I can do very easily? Or are you going to get people to think about the valid reasons and concerns that you have for feeling some type of way? And it's not because it's discrimination. It's not because, um, you know, um, of any type of picture that they're trying to paint. But I really have a problem with, you are not allowed to speak your opinion or your mind because other people feel differently about it, or they feel that it's not the right way to think. I believe we're all individuals and we are all entitled to our own opinions. And I quite honestly really don't care if people like it or not, because like I've said, nobody cares about my feelings, nobody cares about my opinions. Nobody cares if I find things offensive, but I'm expected to go along with it. Or if not, you lose your privileges. And this is a perfect example of that. Okay. This go along to get along attitude doesn't fly with me. So basically, they're doing to me what I have known all along, and is just basically burying my videos. Um, you know, and I mean, it's not a new thing. So I do have another backup channel on YouTube. I haven't used it in quite some time. It's called Freedom 2022. The link is in the description. I have Twitter. If you're on Twitter, my handle on that is KIMST2. I find that to be a little bit more forgiving with, the things that you say and do. And I'm new to Rumble. But I'm going to start using that platform for live streaming a little bit more, because again, it's a platform that encourages you to be able to speak your mind with, little to no punishment. And I don't feel that in today's age, in 2023, that we should be punished for having a different opinion of others. Like, that to me is extremely insane. But to some people, it's dangerous, because if you have valid points and you have valid concerns and you are able to reach the logical people of the world, that's something that they don't want to happen. And quite honestly, I really don't care. I have a good heart, but I'm sick of being pushed around. And that's a mistake that a lot of people make in my life for some reason. They mistake my kindness for weakness, and when they do that, they see a whole different side of me that they didn't even know existed. So that's why I always make the joke that I have a halo, but it's held up by horns, and who I am really depends on you. And yes, I can take a lot, but once I've reached my limit, you're gonna fucking know it. And I reached my limit a long time ago, but nobody cared about that then, and they still don't care about it now. But I refuse to change who I am just to make others feel comfortable when I'm not feeling comfortable at all with the way things are going. And I feel I have the right to voice that opinion, but others feel differently, and I can respect that. So, yeah, there's sorry, I haven't been paying attention to the chat. So I find it absolutely ridiculous. What's that say? Yeah, I was trying to think last night. Um, I was wondering how the hound is doing. Are you talking about my dog, Dakota? Or a different hound? Yeah, like I reviewed last night and I didn't see anything wrong, but I think that there was one specific subject matter that they're really, really enforcing. And I stated my opinion quite bluntly and quite honestly. I didn't find it offensive, but others did, and I don't care. So yeah, basically this one is on restriction, which means from all what I can tell so far is that I've lost access to my community tab, so I can no longer post things. I'm not sure. They said a couple other things, but I can't really tell yet until I go to do it. So if you are interested in, still, well, free speech, I get away with a hell of a lot more on Twitter. Um, and I always have, but especially within, the last year since the changes have been made. Rumble is a new one to me, but a lot of people have used that for a long time. And apparently that's another platform that promotes, a little, I don't want to say free speech because I don't even know if there is such a thing as free speech anymore, even though we want to believe that there is. And, but it's absolutely ridiculous. And this is not something that is new to me. I'm on my fifth channel, and it depends on the powers that be that you're going against, on whether or not they allow you to have that type of opinion or not. And quite honestly, I'm sick of like this different rules for different rules type of attitude. I just I don't know, like it's making me so friggin' angry. Like I have to be honest. Like I'm never going to not be honest with my opinion. And sometimes when it's about a controversial subject, I try to be as respectful as I can. But there's times when I'm human, we're all human. Sometimes maybe things don't come out right, or maybe I'm mad and I say something, in anger. But as a general rule, I do try to respect everybody and everything, and even those that have different opinions than myself. But I'm sick of being the one to pay the price for having a different opinion. And yes, the links to my other social medias will be posted in the description once this video posts. And the links are there. So if you want to follow me, you're more than welcome to. I encourage you to. YouTube, I've been playing this game with YouTube for a long time. And I was actually, it's kind of funny because I was just thinking last night, geez, I've had this channel for a while. And they haven't really played too many games. And then all of a sudden I get that email and it's just like, I don't understand. Um, yeah, only no news speak. Yeah, you're right. And I don't care. I don't care. Like, just because the world is changing and they're trying to, in my opinion, force their views, their ways, their new, fads, trends, whatever it is they're trying to, like, I'm going to say almost force down your throats, in my opinion. It doesn't mean that everybody has to bite and everybody has to play along. And it doesn't mean that everybody has to agree. And they don't like people like me. They want you quiet. They want you seen and not heard. They don't want you to have an opinion against them, especially when they think that you are an influential person, and I am not anymore. Like, I on this platform, like, I mean, you know, I've had bigger channels in the past, and they used to let me get away with a lot freaking more than they do now. But they've been on my ass for years, and quite honestly, I'm sort of getting sick of it. But the thing about YouTube is that I've got a lot of friends out here that I do enjoy watching their shows, and this is the platform of choice for them, and that's why I continue to stay. But it's disheartening, like, it's very disheartening to me, because I don't want to be in an echo chamber. I don't want to live in a world where they tell you what you can do, how to live your life, what is acceptable, what is not acceptable. Like, it's a very fine friggin' line, okay? And some days I can play nice and play within the lines, and then there's other days that I'll be honest, I purposely want to push buttons. And you know when those days are. We all do. But all I'm trying to do is speak my opinion without being censored, without being looked down upon. I believe that we all have the right to our opinions on any subject, and nobody, no matter what your view is, should be looked down upon because you feel a different type of way than somebody else. That's what makes us unique. Sometimes that's what makes, the world go round. Sometimes they say opposites attract. I don't know if I could handle somebody just like me. I mean, I could. It would be fun, and we'd be one hell of a team and a force to be reckoned with. But at the same time, like, how do you learn? How do you grow? How do you evolve as a person if you are never challenged on, your viewpoints? And for me, I'm always looking at different ways to, because maybe I am wrong. Maybe there is information out there that could, maybe make me reevaluate things. But I'm very strong-willed, and I'm very independent, and I'm very much into being my own person, and I always have been, right from the time I was a kid. My poor mom. And if I'm honest, I think that's one of the things that I love most about myself, is because I can't honestly say that I respect somebody that is I that is a follower, that doesn't have a strong mind, that can be easily led or misled or manipulated. I look at them as weak, in my opinion, and I don't mean that to be in a derogatory way. That's just my viewpoint, because I'm so the opposite of that, you know, and it makes me question, their choices, their logic, their just everything, like, what's this? What the hell is this? Did you see this? I don't know what that is right now. And I don't know if I can even click it right now, because it might take me off of my live. Hey, Co-Train. We are all paying the price with you. It is, you know, the way I see this censorship is you know, they're not doing anything to the ones who hold strong values and morals and ethics, but what they're doing is showing you who they are, and that they fear people like us that say it loud and say it proud and have no shame. Those are the people that I respect the most in this world, no matter what the cost. And I don't care. And that's why, if you've ever noticed about me, I always stick up for those people that are controversial, or that people feel some type of way about, or when people are going out of their way to trash somebody else's character or person, I start looking into those people, and then I start defending them. And I've always been that way my entire friggin' life. And I don't know why, but that's just the way that I am. It's part of who I am. It is who I am. I don't know any other way. I mean, forgive me for that, but they make you feel like you're wrong, and I don't accept that. I'm sorry, I don't. And in my opinion, I think they're wrong for trying to force their will, their way, their view onto me. I think that's wrong. I think we should all be able to speak our mind free of any consequence, within reason, obviously. Like, I'm not saying anything out here. I've seen people say a lot friggin' worse than I do, okay? And I've been on pretty good behavior lately on YouTube, because I know we have this love-hate thing going on. And, there's a way to say things that are not offensive, and I don't think that anything I say is offensive. Like, I mean, at times maybe, you know, if it's a controversial subject and feel people feel differently, I'm okay with that. I encourage dialogue. But they don't. And to me, that's somebody that I would consider to be tyrannical, a narcissist, a psychopath, a sociopath. In my opinion, those are the traits of those types of people. And I will never buy into that. And I will forever, my entire friggin' life until my last dying breath, challenge that type of way, because I am not that. And if you have to use force or coercion or bribery or take away people's rights or take away their voice or their freedoms, their rights, that tells me that you're actually pretty weak, to be honest. Because if you can't use your words to portray your points and gain support, then you're a weak person, in my opinion. And we know the specific types of people that I'm talking about. I'm not talking about anybody like, you know, like I'm not talking about my bitches here. But you know, I don't know. And I just find it offensive. And, you know, maybe there's a reason for that for me. Uh Maybe people have been in situations in the past where they did have to walk on eggshells and they did have to keep their mouth shut to go along, to get along, or because of certain situations that would make it very complicated. um I don't want to say too much, but if you know, you know. And maybe once you're free of those situations, you don't ever want to live that way again. And I feel like that's what they're trying to do to us, especially here geographically where we are. And I just, I don't know. It makes me feel some type of way. It triggers me and it makes me want to scream louder. It doesn't want to silence me. It makes me want to scream louder, because we all just simply want to be heard. Okay. And I don't know. I like, it's doing my head in. Like, and you know, there's no way to discuss this with somebody at YouTube, because like I said before, you know, it's this big huge company, but they don't have one single phone in the building where you can actually talk to somebody. And yeah, you can appeal this decision or whatever, and then they'll send you this generic email, this template, and say, we physically have reviewed your thing, and no, you're still wrong. Like, you know what? No, I'm not wrong, you're wrong. So fuck you. So that's my opinion. You don't like it, you don't have to watch my video. You don't have to be here. You know what I mean? It's really that simple. If somebody is saying something that I find offensive, or I don't agree with the way they think, and I find them to be very close-minded and belligerent and ignorant to the way that other people perceive things, then I just simply avoid those types of people, because you can't save everybody, you can't reach everybody, nor do I want to, nor do I care to. Like, my job isn't to save the fucking world, okay? I'm not wearing a cape, and if I were, it'd be tinfoil. So, you know, it's just, I'm sick of it. The last few years have been hell for a lot of us, okay? And they made it that it was impossible to have a conversation. They censored the shit out of us. They stopped for a brief moment in time, and I think it was so they could gain intel, because this is what they do in Canada. Our intelligence agencies are so friggin' intelligent that the way that they gather their information is from tweets and from videos, not facts, not people. And they certainly don't, you know, talk to people and have, you know, physical conversations. They base it on memes and tweets, and that's of course the way any professional intelligence agency should conduct business, of course. You know, don't you know, get with the fucking times, right? So yeah. I wish I could say that I was done with YouTube, but again, I've made some friendships out here that I value. I have a lot of shows that I watch out here that I enjoy, and you know, it's just like I'm friggin' like trying to contain my temper, because I feel like, here we go again. You know, can't speak your mind because some snowflake's gonna melt. Well, you know what? Why are we only catering to one demographic? Why are we catering to these people? Does anybody ever cater to us? No, they do not. They name call us, they gaslight us, they take away our rights, they make it so we can't even have conversations with people or on social media. They gain special privileges to certain types of people that they know are controversial, so we'll act some type of way so they can say, see, we were right, you guys are those types of people. They're causing certain situations to happen on purpose. This is an old move, it's a tyrannical move, it's something that I've seen many times in my past, and I'm never going to change who I am just so somebody else can be comfortable when I'm extremely, extremely uncomfortable in my own self for not being able to speak. And I don't even know if that makes sense to anybody. But if you've ever been in a situation, like I said before, where you're walking on fucking eggshells and you can't be your authentic self, this type of situation really fucking is upsetting to somebody. And that's where I find myself at right now. Yes, they are causing the conflicts. And if anybody on this planet doesn't believe that it's for an intentional purpose, then I've got a bridge to sell you, because I've seen this shit a long time ago. And, you know, I can tell you every move they're going to make before they make them, because I've seen this before. And it is a playbook, and it is intentional, in my opinion. But I'm sick of having to walk on eggshells to make these people feel uncomfortable, when quite honestly, they're going out of their way to make our lives a living hell. And nobody cares. And nobody really understands the suffering that some of us feel at times, because we do our best to try and hide it. Because we don't want to come out here and complain or upset, or what people feel is negative or makes them uncomfortable. But, you know, the reality is that you have no idea what a person struggles with in this fucking life. And a lot of us have been struggling for a long time just to be fucking okay. And it seems like the more we try to do that, the more monkey wrenches they throw at us to make us not be okay. And that's not cool, man. It's very painful, and it's very hurtful. And I feel sorry for the people that, because to face what's coming, you need to be very strong-willed in your mind, body, and spirit. And there's times that we've all wanted to just feel defeated and give up and say, you know, what is all of this for? What is the point of this? Why are we fighting for something that is really set up for us to not win in the first place? And I don't have the answers for that except to just keep going. And when you're feeling all of this shit and you don't have someone to talk to about it, and you're carrying all of this shit plus a lot fucking more that you just keep to yourself, it tends to make you not so happy. But you have to put on that face, right? Because nobody wants to see it when you're not happy. You know, nobody wants to be around that. Trust me on that one. So I don't know, like I'm feeling defeated, I'm feeling discouraged, I'm feeling like, what's the fucking point? I feel like we're fighting a losing battle. I refuse to accept that thought, but I mean, I'm also realistic, and I'm looking at the odds, and I'm looking at the way that things have been set up. And it's all set up for us to not win. And I don't like to have that defeatist attitude, because I am a fighter, naturally, obviously. But we are all human, and we all have those emotions, and we all feel that way at some time. And I'm just being honest about how I'm feeling right now, you know? And I say it so if there's other people out there who are feeling the same fucking way and just feeling sort of like you don't really know what the future holds, everything is so uncertain. You know, a lot of us feel this way, and you're not alone. And that's why I come out in here and have these difficult conversations, because a lot of people may not feel as comfortable saying these type of things, but they will reach out to me in private and say, thank you for doing that. And that's why I speak up, because apparently I just don't care what people think. Like, think what you want about me, but you've never walked in my shoes, and you've never had to deal with the things that I've dealt with, or faced the things that I've faced, and come out of it the other side. So I think there's a certain strength in that. And believe me, the last thing I worry about is what people think. Because if I did, I wouldn't be here. Bottom line. So I was thinking David and Goliath when I was speaking, because that's what it feels like. It feels like we're up against a giant monster with all the odds against us. And it's, some days it's easy to get lost in that and feel like, what is the point? Because just when you think you found a way, then something comes along and it's like, well, now it's like plot twist. Now we got to figure it out another way. And I refuse to give up. Like, I'm too fucking stubborn to give up. I will not let them win just on mere principle alone. And they will not own my mind. They will not own my soul. They might make it impossible for us, it's just, it's absolutely mental the way that they're forcing us to live. And it affects people. It really does. And when you're trying to navigate this life, independently, that's a lot of weight to carry, man. And sometimes it gets heavy. I'm not going to lie. But I try to, keep a positive attitude, and I try to make jokes about it, and I try to laugh it off. But, there's my moments when when it does hit me hard. And I'm not going to lie about that, because I don't want people to think that if they're feeling the same way, that they're alone, or that they're wrong, or that that's what they want. This is a fucking spiritual war, man. Like, you need to be strong in your beliefs, and in your values, and in your morals, and in your ethics. And if you're not, this will hit you much harder than it's hitting me. Trust me on that one. And I feel sorry for those people, because I can't even tell you how many people that I've had in my real life die because they couldn't handle the pressure they were under. And this was before life got really complicated, okay? And in a way, I guess maybe things were meant to happen that way, if I'm looking back on it, because if they were still here today, living in the pressure that we're facing today, they wouldn't have made it through. And I know that for a fact. So that's why I've come to peace with their choice. Even though I wish I could have changed it and didn't want it, I understand it now. But I don't want to keep losing my loved ones, because, like, trust me when I tell you, I used to have a fucking army. And I'm not even that old. Like, I've lost more friends and more family, more friends specifically, than my father, and he's 80 years old. So what's that tell you about the world we live in today? Is that normal? For young people, young, healthy people, to just die suddenly, that's normal, and nobody's questioning it. And when you do, they censor you. Why? Why? Unless they're trying to cover up something that they know the answer to, which we already do as well, but they don't want us talking about it. Well, do you think we're fucking stupid? Like, I'm not Stevie Wonder walking through this life here. I see what's happening, okay? Spin it any fucking way you want it. Put a pretty red bow on it, all you fucking want. But at the end of the day, this is the reality of what's happening. And for those of you who are listening and can't quite relate to what I'm saying, be thankful that it hasn't hit your city, your town, your country yet, because it's coming. There's certain countries that are test pilots for this project. Canada happens to be at the top of that fucking list for whatever reason. And, so if none of this makes sense to you now, just maybe keep it in a file and put it in the back of your mind, because there's going to be a day when it's like, you're going to be like, holy fuck, I see it now. And this is what happening. And I'm glad that I had someone to help me and warn me about what's coming, and show you that even on the tough days that you can get through this, because it's just the way that it was meant to be for some reason. I wish I had the answers. I wish I knew the magic answer to tell you how to not let it affect you so much. But not everybody is in the same position in life, okay? Um, I could tell you guys so much, but like I mean, I'm pretty open about some things, and then there's other things that I'm pretty private about. And my personal life is one of those things that I'll share so much, but there's a lot that I don't share for specific reasons. And I don't know, it takes me a long time to open up and trust somebody that much to be able to just say that shit. And sometimes I never do for reasons that, are personal. But yeah, you can come up if you want to come up. It's just one of those days, you guys. One of those days. I just dropped the link. Sorry, it took me a second. Hey, Charles. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, if it's not happening to you in your country yet, just take notes, okay? Because it's coming. Hey, dude, what's going on?
Hello, hello.
Hey, how are you?
Oh, not too bad. Trying to stay positive.
I
It,
I do too. Honestly, it's just honestly like
it's harder every single day, and I feel you on that. It's crushing, like I was saying earlier.
yeah.
The pressure. Like it's weird for people that are so loving and all that to be
I know
crushed
because
like
we feel it
this.
more. We
Yeah.
feel it more.
Oh yeah, and I see it like I see it with Brian and Rich and all those other guys. Like those guys are all loving teddy
I
bears,
know, and when you're
and
an empathetic
yeah,
person, you feel other people's emotions, so you're carrying
yeah.
not just yours but theirs too, and it's a big pressure, right? Like,
And right now, it's like it's been 19 months now. They've been crushed by hate, and it's like they're still standing. And Brian stopped dancing. I mentioned that the other day. I'm like, yeah, it's been 2 months now. You're not dancing. He's like, man, he's like, I can't dance right now. And it's like that's how much pressure he's been put on, and the guy only wants his vehicle and what's right. That's it. That's all he was asking. If they give him that, he'd be gone. But no, they can't even do that. And at the end of the day, it's the good people that pays, and it's people like for me, I felt that pressure all my life.
yeah,
And
me too.
to tell you the truth, I thought this was okay because this is how normal people cope with people like me. That's what I thought. And now
Hmm.
it's happening to everyone equally. And I'm realizing, I'm like, wait a minute. I'm questioning that reasoning because I'm like, no, 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 no. I've been treated like that because they call me a criminal because I like a plant.
Yeah,
Maybe I'm on something. Maybe
yeah,
I wasn't wrong after all. Maybe I'm not such a bad person.
yeah.
And then everything changed. The mentality changed, and they hate that. They can't stop people like that change their mentality set and say, hey, look, I might not have been the wrong person. I might say a lot of wrong things. Like I'm human like everybody else. I make mistake every 2 seconds.
Oh God, yeah,
Like I understand that,
yeah,
but I understand that censorship has never been okay, but somehow humanity has been getting away with it all our life. Like one
yeah,
way or another, we're getting like some subject we can always talk about, and others we can't.
yeah.
Just like
Hey,
earlier,
Monta.
I made a joke with a friend, and I totally forgot she was vegan, and I sent her a picture that to me was funny, and I got a
Mhm.
massive text back that she's unhappy now and this and that, and she's talking about dead babies, and I'm like, what the heck? And I'm like, oh, you're vegan. I'm like, but you're talking about that baby. I've been to a chicken coop when I was a kid, and I'm telling you, that stuff doesn't bother. Like, it does bother me, but I'm like, when you're talking about that baby, technically, it's a woman thing. Men don't have like we have a say on the matter, because I thought that baby she was talking about abortion and all that stuff. So I'm like,
Hmm.
we don't really have a say on it. Of course, we have an opinion to give, but it's
Right.
only an opinion. We're not the one dealing with the emotional issues and everything that goes with it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we're not suited to even have that conversation yet. Meanwhile, everybody's taking a side. I'm like, yeah, that's wrong. I'm like, that's wrong. We're
Yeah.
not suited yet to talk about it. And you're talking about a little life. Am I pro or against? I can't say. Look, I think I got both. I understand both sides, and I'm like, okay, but what do we do now? Well,
Well, I'm
technically,
a firm believer in not forcing your will or your views
yeah,
onto somebody else. Like, and it seems
exactly.
like the more time passes, the less choices we're having. Like, they're
Yeah,
taking away our right to just choose who we want to be, what we want to say, what we want to watch, what we want to share. Like, it's starting to feel like very claustrophobic to me because it's like I don't know. I can't
yeah.
explain it.
Well, to me, the only thing I can see is our PM turned around and made laws that
Yeah.
force mega company and a state to have a say on something that they just don't want to answer. Because if they do, it might bring to civil war in their country if they have a say
Well, look
on
at France. Look at
censorship.
France. They totally revolted, and look at how much they suppressed that information.
Oh, I know. But what I mean is, in United States, the way they're going, if people finds out that they've been suppressed for all those years, what are they going to do? And that's what they're
Revolt.
afraid of.
They
They're
have the
afraid
Second
of people
Amendment, man.
waking up. Yeah. They're afraid of people waking up in their own country because Canada brought them to changing their mindset. And it's like, well, yeah, that's how the what yeah, I hope someone in Africa learns something from Canada at some point in time. Like, and I hope that we learn something from African at some point in time in Canada. And that's why the internet was invented, but they changed the whole meaning of that, which in itself, I think that's their greed that's doing it. It's all about greed now, and it's like, yeah, you know what? I choose not to be greedy because I realize that what is doing to society in itself, and it's like we don't need all this.
I
We
can
can
change my tactics real quick, eh?
uh,
Like, I mean, him and his wife just split up, and I've already reached out to her and said, "Hey, like, I'm waiting for your tell-all girl. Like, you want to do an interview? Like, hook it up. Like, now's the time. Like, and believe me, at some point, somebody's gonna spill the dirt, and I can't wait because, like, I'll be right up there with a fucking microphone. Like, woo
yeah,
woo,
oh
let's
yeah.
get this shit out. Like, I mean, so if they want to keep coming at me, I'll play games and I'll go dirty. Like, let's do it.
That's all they know what to do, and they're
Yeah, but I
expecting
can play
that.
dirty too.
Yeah, but
Don't.
they're expecting you to. What they're not expecting you to do is to take a different stand than that. And
Do you
that's
know
what
that Dr. Fossey is coming to fucking Hamilton
yep,
in November?
yep,
What the fuck
yep.
for? Why? Guess who's going to be
Well,
there like a dirty
no,
shirt
no,
right up
no.
front? Me.
He's getting to Canada to get boo.
Well, and you
That's
know
what it's
what?
gonna
I
happen.
find it to be weird because that's my hometown. Hamilton is like the Bronx, okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
It's like it's
Oh, I know.
very like a tough neighborhood. It's a tough town. Like that's the way it was set up. That's the way it was we were. And like fuck around and find out really kind of originated in Hamilton as far as I'm concerned. So for him to go to that specific spot, I find a suspicious as fuck. Like I'm going to be there, okay? I'm going to find out what the fuck is going
But
on. Like
you know what would be, what would make even more impact
what?
if the guys with the two wheels shows up there to give their say, because we all know Hamilton is one of those towns where it's their town technically. uh, for me, I'm waiting for those other people that we have ostracized out of society. What do they have to say? That's why for me myself, that's what I want to hear. Because and I'm going.
I'm sick of always it's just certain people that have the
Yep,
jam to state their case, and it's like I'm sick of people
Exactly.
riding on our fucking coattails waiting for us to fix it
Yep.
when they're just sitting at home content to just, oh, do I'm just gonna not even care and shop
Well,
Amazon and watch my Netflix and not really care about what's going on in the world. You know what? You're a shallow motherfucker, and I'm sick of it, and I don't care if you get saved or not. Like, you do you, boo, because when it
yep.
comes down to it, we got to have our own backs. I'm really sick of being that voice for everybody else, because who does it for me?
Oh, you're
Nobody.
right. You're right. But all my life, for me, all my life, I grew up hearing about, oh, the bad guys this, the bad guys that. Where are the bad guys now? Where are they? We're definitely not the bad guys here. And it's like, but that's what I mean. The like those guys used to have a different vibration, different voice.
And they
And,
still do, but they just
oh
don't have
yeah,
the fucking jam to speak up. And I don't
yeah,
respect people like that. I'm sorry, I
yeah.
don't.
No, no, no. Exactly. That's what I mean. It's like it is kind of a call out to anyone that says they have balls out there.
Yeah.
Come and show them.
Yep.
Show your freaking balls. We need you. That's what it is.
Yeah.
We're not against anything. We just have we need
No, we're
people
not
with balls
against
to
anything.
stand up with us.
We're pro choice. We're pro freedom. We're pro stay the
Yep,
fuck out of my life and let me live my life.
yep,
Do you know what
exactly,
I mean? That's what it
exactly.
is. But they're
And
painting a different picture, and it's not that.
yeah, and if those people later on, when everything gets remade and all that, if they really want a place in our society, that's what I mean. If they have balls, show them up, because eventually, when all this falls down, it's one of the two sides that will have won. And if everybody complied and all that, well, it's going to be a hard truth on a lots of people if the other side wins. And I do think that we're going to win this one because,
I used to think that, but
oh,
I'm
yeah,
losing
no,
faith.
no,
I gotta be honest. I
like,
really do. I'm losing faith.
it's force of nature when it came. That's one thing. It's the side that never wants to fight and do everything in their power not to have that fight is usually the one winning because they usually have the truth behind them. And as far as
Yeah,
I know, we
but
do.
what good is the truth if we're still losing? If you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we speak up. Yeah, we know what's going on. Yeah, we're trying to help people help themselves. But in the end of it, you have to look at who has the resources, who owns everything, who has the power, who owns the courts, the
You're
cops, the
right.
everything. Like, it's a losing battle, dude. As much as I hate to say it, like it kills me to say it, but I'm a realist.
Oh no,
And I'm
no,
feeling very
you're
discouraged
actually
today.
you're
You know,
actually correct. But how can I say this?
there's
Do you
only
know?
one way out, and we know what it is, and nobody
Oh
wants to
yeah,
do it.
actually, they've been working at it. Meanwhile, um, it has to be different because if you look at our history, usually there's two sides to a battle, and they're
Right.
usually announcing the battle date at the beginning and the end. This one, the date weren't announced. They started the war against us, and now we're replying. We're pushing back, and
Yep.
it's back and forth, back and forth. But this one was started illegally, so technically, when the dust settles and all that. Um, I'm sorry to say, but there's a lot of people that will survive this, that will just decide to do their own thing because they will realize that no, though the, if the bad guys survive, they won't have authority on whatever else survive either, and that's gonna be hell for them because they can't rule when there's nothing to rule. They might be ruled after, but like I say, it's hard to predict something like that. But the way they're going at it, what do you think happen if electricity disappeared tomorrow morning?
Well, I don't know where it was, but somebody was saying that one of the grocery stores, another one of the grocery stores on, I think it's Sobeys, is on strike, and like there's
Okay,
food
yep.
shortages coming, and it's like, oh fuck, here we go again, and they're blaming it. Listen, I've been in supply chain for years. Okay, these are not because of strike
Yeah,
workers. Okay,
yeah.
you
Oh
can
no.
get your food from another source. You can go to different suppliers. Listen, I know how this shit works, and it's done intentionally, and it's a way to control people because when
Oh
you're
yeah.
at their
Oh yeah.
mercy, they can control you.
Well, that's why grocery store were invented to start with. It's
Yeah.
a convenience. It's a convenience inside the city, but do you know how hard it was for the first convenience store to get like supply constantly? Like, no, no, no. It's like it's a network of things that needs to work together. If not, it doesn't work properly. And it took us hundreds of years to perfect that method. And now they're screwing with it, and they don't realize that. Oh,
No, they realize they know exactly what they're doing, and they're
oh
doing it
yeah,
on
oh yeah.
purpose.
And I want to say, hi, Chris. Chris
Hey,
Trippin.
Chris, how's it going, buddy? Yeah, it's just I don't know. It's one of those days. It would have been my mom's birthday today. I realize that's why I
Yeah,
feel kind of down today. You know what I mean? But I'm just also like I'm usually like okay, like the glass is half full. You know what I mean? And I've always had that fighting
you had
mentality,
you,
but
you
just
had you had to remind me.
I know, I know. Well, it's just one
Now
of
I
those
got the
days.
tears in
You
my eyes
know,
again.
I know. I've been feeling kind of emotional today myself, which is sort of unusual for me. Like, but I mean, I'm human. I do feel things,
Yeah,
and you know, I just I try to not look at the negative. I try to look at not the problem, but the solution. But sometimes when you're faced with um, very limited solutions, if any at all, and then when you think you find something and people sabotage it, and it, you
yeah.
know,
Oh
it's
yeah,
like,
no. And I think that's the worst. Like, I'm looking at everything out there, and a lots of people. That's why when you asked me in the message the other day, what's happening out there, and I'm like, I can't really say because I'm not really seeing it. I'm seeing one thing, and the next day is something different. So I rather not say because I'm like, well,
yeah,
look, I know all those guys. I know they're trying their best. I know they are doing their best. There's
I
nothing
know,
wrong
I
there,
get
but
it, I get it.
somehow I don't know. In the last week, a lot of bad influence message passed out there, and I'm like, I don't know any of it. I just talked to the guy, and everything was fine. And they said everything went fine. So I'm like, obviously they got a lots of opposition out there that are passing misinformation and disinformation and all that bullshit. I'm like, yeah, that's what I call propaganda,
Yeah,
and
totally.
they're using it, and they're like, oh no, no, it's not propaganda. I'm like, yeah, go look at Vietnam War and what they're doing, and on my channel I have it. I have an Asian lady that was hired by Vietnam to do propaganda broadcast, and
What?
that was, yeah, that was used against the American when they were in Vietnam, and that lady is there to pass propaganda stuff to the Americans, so they leave and they go home. And oh yeah, it was called propaganda broadcast, and they had no problem with that. It's still called that now, but now it's misinformation, disinformation. But those two words are not the whole totality of what propaganda means. There's things missing in there, and I find out because, yeah, if you go to the French language, it's a little bit more elaborated when it goes to that, and there's definition missing if you just go with misinformation and disinformation. And it's like, oh, so they're trying to change everything we know about parts of the language
Yeah,
on
it's all
both
mind
ends,
talks. That's
and,
all
and
it
they're
is.
using the French language to do it because that's the only weapon that they got left with, and they're so pissed off that they could not separate back in the old day because the people said no to separation in Quebec. People said no. The government
Uh-huh.
said yes. They went forward with it. They were missing, so they were so close to win, and they lost it because nobody in the province get in with it, because we all saw how ludicrous it was. It's like, well, what the heck, I don't want a passport to go through now. And it's
Yeah.
like the province was so pissed that since then they've been angry at the population, so they penalized the population so hard that everybody is living in a police state for the last, what, 20, 30 years now. And on the other hand, now they're doing it to the rest of Canada because they found a way to go around that after 30 years, and Trudeau was able to get in. And then he was told exactly what to do at the proper time, and he did it, and poof, he ended up having everything he wanted at the end. Just because all the big, like all the XMP, if you look at them, they're all lawyers or accountants. So, and what has been ruined in Canada? The law and accounting. Go figure.
Mm.
Oh, go figure. Like I say, it goes up to the ex prime minister. Almost every single one of them is screwing Canada after they're out of office, and people are like, "Oh no, no, it's not true." I'm like, "Hey, come on, you don't know about SCS Lavalin and Jean Chrétien? It's his
Yeah.
hometown. It's his brother-in-law that started the whole thing. Come on, it's well documented down there." Oh, we didn't know that. I'm like, in Quebec, we knew that stuff. Those guys were getting followed everywhere, and sure enough, because he's an ex-prime minister, they shut down the whole investigation. No,
Well,
no
and that's
subvention.
what
No
continues to
subvention.
happen every day. And
Yep.
it's like there's got to be a fucking way. Like my MP, Larry Brock, he's amazing and he's on our side. And he used to be
Hmm.
a former prosecutor for 30 years. And I've literally watched him sit on so many investigations. And once they
Yeah.
get close to
Yeah.
proving guilt and collusion and criminal activity, they shut the investigation down.
Oh
And
yeah.
how are they allowing that? Like I sent a message to Larry and I was like, listen, Larry, you used to be a former prosecutor. Don't listen to these guys. Form your own fucking committees and don't even tell them. And then once you have the proof,
Yeah.
bam, hit him
Yeah,
with it.
no, yeah, but then no, actually, that was been done for a while. That's been done, and then they turned around and they call it unfair practice because of that. Because then you're not giving the other side the chance of shutting you
Fuck the
down
other
first.
side because they
Oh
redact
yeah,
everything.
I
They're
know.
corrupt.
The other side is the crown, and we can't bypass that we're owned by the crown. If we decide to be sovereign and not be owned by the crown, we're owned by the native or the First Nation or the Six
I'd
Nation or
rather work with the
whatever.
natives. Man.
Well, me too. And they all know that. So what do you think is that's why technically I can't really tell you what's going on down there because some
Yeah,
part of it includes people that like we can't talk about it
I
because
understand. Yeah,
if they do something, uh, I
I
think
know.
they really mean business, and I hope they do because hey, I would be there for them any single day. Even if they ask me one day, hey, look, you get to leave. I understand. It's still your land. But it's not me. I'm not a foreigner from this land. I'm born here.
Yeah,
So
like don't
I'm a
blame us for
Canadian
what our
just like that.
ancestors.
Yeah.
Don't blame us for what our ancestors did. Like we're on your side. Like
Yeah.
fuck them.
Exactly. Exactly.
You
The
think I
I'm
support these
again
fucking assholes?
anything that goes against mother nature I'm against, so technically I'm on their side more than they know. I'm full green on that one. Like oh yeah, I would turn the whole thing upside down. Like I was telling my roommate, I'm like, I still don't understand why we don't have an action across the planet that almost like every human has to do like 6 months of forced work on grabbing plastic out of the beaches and stuff like that and everywhere depollute so we can have an habitat in 40 years but or our kids and it's like no one is doing it and I'm like man it's so sad. That's what I thought I would see. I would see when I grew up. I thought that when I be an adult that would be everywhere, that every adult is wants to save the planet and help it and all that, not that climate stuff. It's like come on, we can't do nothing about the climate, but we can definitely do our part in taking part of the pollution out there. We can clean it slowly. Yes,
When are
it's
they
going
gonna
to take
add?
time and
When are they
money.
gonna add a carbon tax to money laundering? Because I'm waiting for that one because that's what all of this is about. And they can hide it and cover it up every way they want, but we know what the fuck's going on, and I'm so sick
Actually,
of it.
I thought about a better one than that.
What?
About only them, only the government gets taxed now. For now on, every Canadian, why we want our tax out of them. All our tax come out of the government. If not, it's like it's just them. And if they don't pay, okay, well, you get everything seized. That's it. Your bank account, everything.
Listen, if I was in charge, dude, like I would take no shit, maybe that's what they need because Trudeau's such a narcissist. Like he'll bully the guys, but like I could fucking take him on in a heartbeat. Like just my words alone, like I could have him in a corner bawling like a fucking baby, like, and I would welcome the
Yeah.
opportunity. Like,
And
oh God.
yes, Gary, you are correct. But technically, if we're not behind all those bribe and all that, the native won't be that corrupt.
Well, you know what it is? Is
We brought
they
corruption to their system because they're not the type of people to take bribes to start with.
no, but
Force
here's the
them
thing:
to.
the federal government gave lots of money to the chiefs, and the chiefs were
Oh
supposed
yeah.
to distribute it
Oh,
to the bands,
I
and they
know.
didn't. They
I
didn't.
know. But that's after. Look at how the system acted with them. That's all they give them. It's you do what we say. If not, you're not getting any water, any money, any
And why
electricity,
do you
any.
think a lot of them
So that's why they
don't
think that way.
that's why a lot of them didn't
Yeah.
support what we were doing because they're like,
Hmm.
we've been living like this our whole entire life.
Yeah. And I understand that, and I'm totally like, I understand the point, and I never agreed with it at the beginning, even when I was a kid. I remember we went to support Kanesataki back then, and I will always support First Nation or Six Nation or whatever they want to call
100%.
now, like 100%. It's like, no, 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 no. Those were the first settler. They were the first people here before my ancestor pushed them out, which I'm not okay with. But I'm not my ancestor. I can do better,
No,
and
I
it's
wasn't
in
even
my
on this
action. I'm
planet
not.
during
i-
then.
if it was me, I would give them half of the country. I would say we can do with three province and take the rest. I have no problem with that, but a lot of Canadians do because they live there, and I understand that too. It's like, hey, look, we can't just kick people out of their house and ask them to be civil. It's not gonna work. It's
Well,
like we all have
look
to.
around. Take a look around and see how many houses are for sale. Do you honestly think it's
Mhm.
because people want to move? It's because they're being repossessed. They can't afford their homes. That's what's
Exactly,
going on. And people don't
exactly.
understand, this mass migration is a planned thing. And let me explain what I mean by that. Because they're the ones creating the housing crisis. So their solution is,
Mhm.
well, we'll build brand new
Yeah.
housing. Well, what a lot of people don't realize is those brand new housing are not covered under rent control. So they're
and no-
fucking us
and
again, and
not
people
just
don't even
that.
know it.
Not just that, is they have a certain insurance and all that stuff that is programmed into the CDR plan, that when they do build, let's say low income rent and all that, it goes on to a certain plan, and they're not allowed to touch those bills for like 15, 20 years. But now the new thing is they're not even thinking about that. They're thinking about ripping the contract right off and say every year we can redo it over and over. So technically, we can accept the contract now, but next year we'll refuse it and we'll double the price, and nobody's going to have a choice. And it's like, oh man, that's, I'm like,
People
that's
people
so
think this is a solution and it's
greedy.
really another ripoff and they don't even see it
Mhm.
coming.
Oh,
And it's
yeah.
like, oh dude, you guys like open your eyes. Please open your eyes.
And Ottawa, if you go down Bank Street, you just walk Bank Street, and let's say that you were here like 20 years ago, and you
Yep.
compare it now, and it's like now 90%. Man, they closed up Barrymore, and they're trying they build up a building apartment where
Yep.
Barrymore was. I'm like
Yep.
that. So they killed creation that was there, all the mental well, the artistic mode that was there. They destroyed all that to build an apartment building in the corner. And it's
Yep.
like, what the heck? I don't get it. And everywhere we get buildings getting destroyed, I understand that the city needs to renovate and evolve, but okay, go further. Oh, no, 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 it needs to be downtown. Why? Oh, because that's where the money is. Only because the promoters are paying you if you only build downtown. But if you build elsewhere, you're still going to make the money. It's going to take longer. That's it. Oh, we don't want to wait. We need it now. Like, I don't understand what is it about the push on having money that's so freaking important that everyone needs to have more than the other guy. I'm like, nah, I don't think so. Everybody should have equal amount, and period. If one guy has a dollar, everyone has a dollar, and learn to live with that dollar. It's important. Meanwhile, to me, that's not what I see. Like everybody should learn how to grow their food and do their own stuff, being more independent. That way, we
Yep.
don't need to rely on those shrub.
Yep.
Because yeah, the I'm getting tired of relying. Like I like living a life where I don't have to worry about too much. But no, I think I want to worry about stuff a lot more because man, they're fucking it up, and
Big time.
they think they own us now, and it's like, nah. I think a jail cell enclosed for 23 hours a day and 1 hour out would be the punishment I would give them for a long time. But then I wouldn't pay the bill. I would take it out of their bank account. I let them pay the bill. It's like,
Yeah. I don't
yeah,
I don't know
crime
the
against
answer, man, because
society.
every time I come up with something that I think would work, it's just like shot down again. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, the but hey, having a good imagination has never been wrong, as far as I've seen. That's how evolution comes in. And one way, at some point, someone will have an ID, and that ID will work. That's how we are where we are now. It's through IDs, everybody's IDs. Like if my grandpa didn't have the ID to move to Canada, well, we wouldn't be here. And it's like, well, yeah, that's what it is. If he didn't work his ass out and die in a snowbank after working his whole life,
Yeah.
and oh, he got mugged. He got mugged by a few punks. He got pushed on the snowbank. Nobody cared because he was 92 years old. He died
Oh
in a
my God.
snowbank. Meanwhile, he's got a statue of him in Chinatown in Montreal. I'm like, that's how life treats us. That's what they're expecting from us. Maybe I had that view of the world. Maybe it's wrong, but this is what I saw as a kid. I saw my
But
grandpa
yeah.
dying after being mugged for a few bucks,
Yeah.
and the guy was like they loved him in Chinatown because he helped them building the railroad, and he didn't use them as slave. Like he feed them the same thing that he was eating. He helped them, he give them good hours and all that. Meanwhile, his boss were saying, no, 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 don't treat them this way. And he went against that. And it's like, yeah, well, to a certain point, we all do what we can. And he was Italian back then, so he was able to do worse, but he didn't. And then
Yeah.
they send him to war and all that. And he told me when he came back to war, he told me, he's like, dude, like as a kid, when he looked at me and he told me, never trust your own government. Don't trust your country. They're just going to send you to use you. And then they're
Yeah.
going to hire the freaking guy I went to catch, and they're
Yeah.
going to give him a job.
Yeah.
They wouldn't let me kill him, but they're going to give him a job now. And that's what they did.
Yeah.
And then later on, what we see, one of them ends up on Parliament Hill getting applaud. The
Right.
fuck?
The same thing
Like,
they called us, and
oh,
they're the ones
I
giving a
know,
standing ovation. Like, how fucked up is this
I
world?
know.
Like,
Eh,
seriously.
all 368 of them should be fired right there, even the
Yep.
secretary.
Yep.
Like, but then if they listen to the people, they know people want that, so they don't want to listen to us right now.
I don't know,
So,
man. Like, I wish I understood the system better to know how to get them because, like,
uh,
it does my head and think trying to think of ways when I really don't understand
the people
that
on
world. You know?
it's easy. The people on top are pushing for a civil war to happen,
Yeah.
and we're saying no to them right now. So they're pissed. They're creating conflict everywhere around the planet to make us go to war here, and it's not happening. And they're like, what the heck? Are we wasting everybody's money for no reason? And then, what the heck? They're going to have to answer. Eventually, they're going to run out of IDs and money, and they're going to have to answer for that. Well, you think it's going to be okay if they go to Cuba? And well,
So,
you don't think Canadian will find a way to Cuba? Don't worry, we'll figure out something. One thing I know, most of the president, the president, the PM, and all the leaders around the world on this round, they're the most hated around the planet.
oh
They're the
yeah,
most hated one. We never had people, even Jules Caesar wasn't hated as much as those guys are. I guarantee it. Like, and Caesar did the horrible thing to be where he was. As an emperor, he knew he was loved by many, but he was hated by more.
yep.
Meanwhile, at the end of the day, I still think, yeah, all our leaders are so corrupt that, yeah, and everybody sees it. Yeah.
That's what pisses me off. It just
Oh,
like I want the problem solved now. Like it's going through the
yeah.
courts and all this shit. Yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
yeah. But like I don't care about 6 years down the road. I want a fucking solution now. Like right
That's the
fucking
thing.
now.
We need to actually, they did that a while ago, and the world didn't do anything with it. It was the Nuremberg trial, and I got the Nuremberg trial 2.0, and
Yep.
they made the 2.0 and all that. They gave us all the list of what they were accused of and what they were guilty of, but
Yep.
nobody understood. Nobody believed that those judge had the right to judge someone from another country. It's not liable in another country. So now we need to find judge in this country at the federal level that
Yeah.
says this is correct, and then a warrant can be drafted. But then, is it applicable? I don't see any. I don't see any RCMP going to arrest
They're
Trudeau and
corrupt as
all
fuck
the
too.
parliament members. I really don't see that. On other than if we have all the money and we pay them to do it, but that's not going to happen either. So that's what I
I
mean.
know
It's
it's a
like,
clown world. Like this is what does my head in. You go in circles, and it's like, okay, we could do this, but no, we can't because of this. We could do this, but
mhm,
and it's just like
yep.
I don't know. Like I mean,
The only way out of this is to have the amount all in one place, and then something might change and might move forward. But other than having the amount of people all in one place doing one goal, nothing will happen other than
well,
us being ostracized.
we just seen what happened when that tried to happen.
I know,
I'm so fucking pissed off
I
about
know,
that.
I know.
So pissed off about that.
But they like I say, there's other things coming that it's kept off the air for a reason, because to a certain point, a lot of people understand
Yeah,
the revolution won't be televised, and a lot of people don't like that. And I know it's frustrating, but they won't be, because when it happened, nobody's gonna want to film this. I was rewatching today the movie Natural Born Killer. Man, it's ever well filmed. Like, it's a little bit of gore and all that. I'm not like, well, I'm actually a huge fan of
huh?
the movie, but not for the killing part, but for the. Uh, I think the actors are charismatic,
Yeah,
and at that point, like, I'm looking at it, and I was like, man, we don't have movies like this anymore. Like, I love the way they made movie in the 80s and 90s.
right.
Like, you look at Islander and all that, but look, the guy was chopping a guy's head.
Oh
What's
fuck.
so great? What's so great about that? And then he gained power from him. But it's the way they made those shots, and they showed us things. Now it's more like it's passing a political ideology behind an image, and it's like, yeah, no, I'm not even watching movies nowadays,
Me
and
neither.
they're wondering why. It's like, I'm like, well, look. I was smart enough to build myself a little network, and I got all of them, so I really don't need to see that new stuff. I'm like, I'm still watching Stargate over here,
Ah,
and I'm happy with it. It's like, yeah,
yeah,
I'm happy. It's got everything I wanted in that show. It doesn't have
yeah,
anything more.
yeah.
It's sure I would love to see the show coming back up, but I understand why it's never gonna come back up. It's like, yeah, with everything that's happening around Cheyenne Mountain and all that, it's
Yeah.
not gonna happen. It's like, okay, but I love that show. I would see another 20 years out of that show. Guarantee. They have enough material to do it. But then nowadays, if they're not passing a political agenda into it, can they do it? I don't think so. It's Hollywood. I'm like, yeah, they're all fighting. They're trying to push that politic into those shows, and it's not working.
I'm
People
sick
are
of
not
it. Like
reacting.
I
Yeah,
hate it. Like I don't
I know.
want to worry about this shit. Like I just want my life back to the way it was, where I didn't give really
Oh,
two shits
yeah.
about much. You know what I mean?
I,
No,
I
no,
want
it's
to
like
I want to go back to the old Wonder Woman. I still have comic books. I'm reading them, and now they don't even make sense anymore. But back then, I was reading them and everything made sense. It's like all the
yep,
comics were all one after the other, and we know the orders of things, and we know that every, like, they weren't just one Superman book; there were like 200 of them, and it's
yeah,
like, yeah. You got it. It's creative
yep,
because the guy sat down and draw it, and he had time to think about an idea. Now you're putting everything into digital, and it doesn't mean anything anymore. I'm like, well, yeah, you didn't take hours drawing it. That's why.
yeah.
It was the art behind it that made it relevant. But now you can still make it relevant a different way, but you're gonna have to add so much to it, and we're not there yet. We're like virtual. I saw the virtual reality that they have. It's pretty clever. I'm telling you. Some of those video game nowadays, I can't even watch. Like, I was watching the new Mortal Kombat. It's too. I'm an aggressive person, and this shit is just too much. And it's like, oh yeah, 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 yeah. No, I'm telling you, I can't even watch what the guy is doing to the other guy. It's like, what the heck? No, it's
Yeah.
like, oh wow, what in the old day? Okay, I get bebality and all that stuff. It was funny, but now it's like, what the? Oh, oh, wow, who the heck programmed this? And who the heck had this idea to do to someone? I'm like, no, that's not okay. And it's like, yeah, oh yeah, no, they just they went too wide. Like, and my mind was kind of open. Well, actually, in the '80s, we were open minded. We had Cube, and we had what was it, Hellraiser and stuff like that. Like, we
Yeah.
had tons of horror movie that didn't make sense and looked horrible. That's why
Yeah.
we know they weren't scary, but they,
Yeah.
they were funny to watch. They were C movie, not even consider B. It's a C movie.
Yeah. Now I find reality more scary than any freaking horror movie that you could ever find.
Yeah, no shit. The everywhere I looked, I'm like, hey, look, can someone print up a poster of Umbrella Corporation? Pfizer needs a new logo. And they want to shut me down. It's like, yeah, that's not gonna happen either. When you said about being vocal, I've been vocal all my life. I got into so
So have
many
I.
trouble, and I'm
Oh,
like,
so have I. I've
wh-
always
wh-
been a target.
why it's always the one that speak out that get into trouble? I'm like, well, maybe it's something about us that we see something that you guys don't
Well,
see,
it's
and
because
we're allowed.
they don't want to get caught for what they're doing, so they'd rather discredit the one
Um,
telling the truth, like the whistleblower. They're the ones risking everything, while the criminal still gets away scot free, and meanwhile, the person who's only telling the truth just wants to set themselves free of this knowledge, and they get punished, and the criminal gets to walk free. Like it's so fucking backwards in my mind that it does my head in.
yeah. Oh yeah. No. I get that. I get that. The like I
And I
say,
refuse to buy that logic. I will not. Like fuck you, make me.
oh no, I know, I know. I think exactly the same way on that. And I went even one thing further. They tried to make me and it didn't work. So now it's try again because I'm still here.
Well, I'm still thinking outside the box, and there's got to be
Oh
someone from
yeah.
his old university that he taught at that'll speak up, or his ex-wife will speak up, or somebody, one of his cabinet members who he pissed off will speak up. Something's gonna get leaked somewhere, and the fucking gig is up, bud.
Yep.
Like, and I
Oh yeah.
can't wait. And when it does, believe me when I tell you, I will be first in line with a camera and a fucking photograph, microphone. Like, let's air this shit out. Now
Yeah.
we've
Oh
got
yeah.
to, bud,
Share screen.
because I'm really good at finding things out. I have a weird way of being in the right place at the right time with the right people, and that maybe that's what makes me a threat because I network with people. Ooh, what a threat I am! Holy fuck!
Oh
You
yeah.
better lock me up for life. Throw away the key.
So do you want to watch the video I was trying to share with you earlier? I can play it here if you want to see it.
How do I share that from my phone? How do I allow you to
You,
play
you
it?
don't you don't have to do anything. I just have to. You get to give me verbal permission so I can put it on.
How do I
Uh,
do that though on my phone? How do I allow you permission to
You
share your screen?
you don't have to do that. You just have to give me a vocal yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yes. Then yeah, if that works.
Okay. So do you see it now?
Not yet.
You don't see it on the.
No.
Oh, okay. So you get to go. There's another tab next to my name. There's another tab. I think it's in a visit room or something like that.
Okay,
I'm
just
on
a
my
sec.
computer,
Oh,
so I'm
okay. Yep.
seeing another screen on there.
Okay.
Okay, so
Okay. There.
I'm yeah,
There. Now we see it. Yep.
okay. So the I'm gonna restart it. I'm gonna try to put it louder because I don't know how loud it's playing. But yeah, this is it's an awesome video. You're gonna laugh on that. It's about everything that we talked about.
Okay.
Hello, I'm from the government with an important announcement. Have you been getting the feeling lately that everything is going to shit? Don't worry, you're not imagining it. Scientists have coined a new term for the era we're living through, the enshittenment. When the enshittenment began is unclear. Evidence suggests probably around the time agriculture was adopted, but there is now a clear consensus that it is human-caused and rapidly accelerating. Watching everything go to shit everywhere at the same time can be overwhelming. That's why
Yep.
we're launching a new service to help keep you up to date. Where's humanity going to shit now? In today's episode of Where's Humanity Going to Shit Now, we look at Israel and Gaza, where a bunch of angry old fuckwits are massacring civilians and children as the world watches on. Humanity has clearly gone to shit here, and that's because one of the symptoms of enshittenment is the inability to hold more than one truth in the brain at the same time. In this case, three truths. 1. Hamas's attack on civilians in Israel is fucked and a violation of international law. 2. Israel's collective punishment of civilians in Gaza is fucked and a violation of international law. And 3. Both 1 and 2 are happening in the context of an occupation which is fucked and in violation of international law. Failure to hold these three truths at the same time has been linked to uncritical exposure of the brain to bullshit propaganda, of which we in the media are primary disseminators. Bullshit propaganda has of course been the cause of every major war this century, and is thus one of the pillars of the age of enshittenment. The good news is, experts regard this case of enshittenment as being avoidable, as demonstrated by all the people calling for an immediate end to the murder of children, and to angry old fucks who stoke conflict, and for us to uphold international law everywhere, not just where it suits us. Join us next week for another episode of Where's Humanity Going to Shit Now, where we look at the coming US election. This has been a message from your local government franchise. Good luck.
That's funny.
Yep.
That's funny.
I know it was. Yeah, yeah.
That
This
is
is on.
true.
Yeah, this is on Juice Media. I have it on my channel also, but that's why it's about everything we were talking about. The
Yep.
enshitment.
Yep. That's a good word. I'm gonna start
Yeah,
using it. It's accurate
yeah.
as fuck.
Oh yeah, no, I know. And those guys are so good. Like they're actually the only one that can make a video so hilarious that they're not getting shut down. Go figure why. I don't know why, but everything that they do is so perfect that they can't be shut down. Like none of their video has been shut down because they're all accurate, every single one of them. The one they made before was about the what's happening in BC and all the fires and all that, and
Yep.
how they were right on the spot. It's like, yeah, well, that's what it is. It's
Yep.
all about the pipeline that they want to build, and they're being told no, and
Yep.
they don't like it.
That's crazy.
Oh yeah,
Oh, hang on. Sorry, my dog is barking at somebody. Hang on.
yeah, it's okay. He's allowed.
Yep.
Even dog have the right to speak.
Oh, he speaks a lot.
Oh yeah, well, yeah. Look at look at who his master is. He's got a lot
Right?
to
No wonder why he's such a savage. Fuck.
say.
Dakota, shut your face.
But we
Somebody
love
was
them.
asking earlier. Yeah, somebody was asking earlier, how's the hound? Well, now you heard. Now you hear him.
It's part of life.
Shut up. Eat your food. Oh God. Hang on.
He saw another squirrel.
Yeah, he's a dog bot. Oh, the other person's taking their dog out. Hang on.
Yeah, he used to have a puppy. I still love her. Been like what, 5 years now? It's been 5 years, 6 years. She's gone, but I still love her.
I know,
I'm still walking her once in a while in my mind.
right?
Everywhere I'm going, I have a smile. She's
Yeah.
following me everywhere.
Yeah.
And now she's more happy. She did, but she never needed a leash before. But now she doesn't even need to watch for traffic. Even better.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
have. I don't have to wait for her to poo either. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't have to follow her with a little bag. So, oh
Yeah.
yeah. So I was talking with with my roommate actually today. How how weird it is that plastic bag in store have been illegal.
Right. Right.
Meanwhile, doggy bags are still there.
Yeah. And they're too small for my dog's shit. Okay.
And not, well,
He's a
not just
beast.
that. It's imagine a squirrel if he gets stuck in a normal bag or a small tiny one. Which one
Yeah.
he's gonna get out first?
Yeah.
They're more
Yeah.
than the doggy bags are more dangerous for animals than the big bag. Meanwhile, we got no plastic straw.
Right.
Out
Yeah.
of
Like
the
take a
deal and no
drink out of a
plastic bag.
friggin'
I'm like,
paper
what the heck?
straw. It's so stupid. Fuck.
Oh, even more than that. Why did all our money change from nylon, from the not nylon, but the fiber that they used to use
Yeah.
for our money to plastic and then ban plastic? It's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Now
I
you're
don't
going to
know.
ban petroleum? What do you think our money is made with now? You numbnuts. But they spend
Well.
billions of dollars changing everything, and or trillions of dollars changing everything, and now it's like, well, you're banning plastic. Are you dumb?
Yes.
Seriously?
The
Like,
answer is yes. Always yes.
like yeah, I might be the disabled and the guy that's got mental illness, but I'm like, I'm seeing right through this stuff.
Right.
Like, I'm like, yeah, yeah, I might be certified, but I guarantee you're certified thief, and you're stealing everything that you got because, oh, just because you can.
Yeah.
That's a good thing to know. Now, if a Canadian wants to fuck us good, he can,
Yeah.
just because he can, and everybody's letting him do that.
Especially
Since
if it's
when
violent
people are
crime, they
that
really
charitable?
encourage those.
Yeah, since when Canadian are that charitable? There's thousands and thousands and thousands of people in jail that didn't have that chance, and they
Right.
commit a third of the crime that this guy did. And it's like, hey, come on, man. I think the compass needs to be readjusted on that. Like, jail should have a lot more pedophile and stuff like that in, and than what they do have now. It's like, yeah, yeah, well, no, like politicians should have a place there too.
I
Oh yeah,
agree.
definitely. And they shouldn't be able to talk to people. Like, it's an endangered species. It needs to be separated from everyone.
Yeah.
It needs to be caged for his own good and for us to live in peace. Because yeah, those guys just shut. Like, is that what once you're well educated? Is that how you turn? Because everyone has been pushing that education stuff since I'm a kid and all that, and before that too. That it's important to get educated, but look at what educated people have been doing since the beginning of time, stealing all our money and our land, and then they make treaties with people and they break them because it's not in their interest 15 years later. And it's like, oh no, they may no, that's backstabbing your partners. It's like,
Yep.
yeah, it shouldn't be done. It's
I agree.
understandable that sometime everybody makes mistake and all that, and partnership needs to be rearranged. Yes, but not backstabbing him. It's like, no,
Yeah.
no, you sit down and you talk about it. You don't impose anything on each other until both are okay with the result of the thing. Not a debacle when one lose everything because he didn't want, like, oh man, like I say, the way that we see contracts and corporation,
Yeah.
I think that's another problem too. Corporation have got too complicated with the law that they know they can get away with almost technically anything.
Well, there's a lot of shady ways to hide money and shuffle it around and make dirty money clean and if they think we don't know those tricks,
But that's the
okay.
thing. The government used it during a thing to make it a certain thing available for everyone, and then they said, "Oh, we won't force you. We won't force you." And then smack, you can't take you can't get on the bus, you can't get on the plane, you can't go anywhere if you don't have that thing.
Yeah.
Well, I watched the movie The Thing. I don't want the thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I say, you have to figure a way out around those stupid freaking boundaries that they put. They gotta find out that yeah, I'm a puffer fish. I'll puff my way right through it. Uh, that's why
That's funny.
I wanted to come up because yeah, you're right. It's super hard to go with the feeling of being constantly put down and all that. And for me, it's been happening since I'm 9 years old, so I'm a little more used to it. But then I turn
Well,
around and every day I get crushed even more. And
I'm used to it too, but it doesn't mean I like it, and it doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. You know what I mean?
oh yeah, no, 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 and you're right, The every year now I have to force myself to remember at some point that I lost my mom.
Yeah, like today
I
would have
don't
been
want
my
to. I kind of
80th
blocked that
birthday.
out because the rage I'm going through, it's not good for me. It's not good for other people either. And
I
it's like,
know.
yeah, 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 yeah. But I did heal from it. But I'm
Yeah.
telling you, I'm more than a flame at this point. Yeah, I'm a damn blue torch.
Yeah.
I cauterize at this point. It's like, yeah, I choose to laugh about the whole thing and do something too at the same time. If I don't laugh, I'm gonna
Cry.
be
Huh.
mad. No, I'm gonna be mad, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
do dumb shit, and I'm gonna end up in jail again. So, other than that, I found ways. I even took a course on comedy. Like
Did you?
yeah, I learned few little things.
Yeah.
So, do you know why trans jokes are not funny?
Huh. Why?
They're missing the best part.
Uh-huh.
And it is okay with the whole cute thing there in the back and all that because it's hard, like I say, it's hard to learn how to do new things with the boundaries that they give us. But that
Yeah.
doesn't mean that we can't be funny anymore. We just have to watch it a bit. And
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong. Like that's one of the joke that the guy told me. I was like, "Are you serious?" And he's like, "Yeah, you can be funny too." He's like, "You just have to try, and you'll figure stuff out along the way." And I'm like, "Okay." And I did.
Yep.
I did. It's like, yeah, I'm laughing a bit more because if not, I would be aggressive, and I don't want to be aggressive. I don't want to give them what they want because that's
Yeah.
what they want. I see it since 9 years old. I've been telling people, I'm like, yeah, yeah. Before peace, you have to have a war.
Yeah.
Everybody's claiming peace. I'm like, nah, I don't want to go to war.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to war. Can we find a between? Because yeah, and people were like, no, we just want to work. It's like, yeah, I understand that, but you're never gonna see your kids for the next 15 years. Then you're gonna blame all this problem on society, but it's not. I'm like,
Yeah.
and then when you realize it's really your fault, but because you weren't there. It's not because you didn't do something, it's because you weren't there. And it's
Yeah.
like, how many parents feel that way?
Oh, here it goes barking again. Anyways, I gotta get going because I gotta run to the pharmacy before it closes. Thanks for coming on, though. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. It was a joy.
Thank you. We'll talk again soon. Thank you, everybody. When the video posts, please follow my other links because they're targeting this channel again. So
Oh, yeah.
I'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you for coming on.
Have a good one.
You too. Bye bye.